Thank you very much. You may be seated, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Can we have the order so that we can begin with our business of the day, continue with the business that we started this morning. I will now call upon the Secretary to read the subject matter for discussion.
Matter of public importance, subject for discussion in terms of Rule 126, the impact of escalating violent crime and GBVF cases in our communities.
Thank you very much. I will call upon Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Magashela. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Chair of Chairs, the members of the Executive Council, maybe I should greet both the Premier and the Acting Premier in absentia, the members of the public and the support staff. Chair of Chairs, allow me to begin by expressing our heartfelt condolences on the passing of Tito Mwini and Membati Mdladlane, two stalwarts of the leadership and service to our nation. Both were the true embodiment of selfless servants of the people and true meaning of the renewed and finest cadres of the movement. Their tragic loss reminds us of the urgent need to ensure safety and security of our communities. Bowen and Mdladlane left legacies rooted in the economic stewardship and workers' rights, respectively. Their contributions to building a democratic and inclusive South Africa will never be forgotten. We also extend condolences to the families affected by the recent massacres in Mqekezweni, Lusikisiki, Qumbu, Willowvale, Biki, and the recent one here in Nelson Mandela, Grogro, yesterday. We commit to the Freedom Charter, which is the overarching ANC policy document, which demands, open quote, there shall be houses, security and comfort, close quote. And as the 7th ANC administration, we commit that good will triumph evil, and that we will not be ruled by criminals, and we are determined to end the scourge of crime in this province. Noting that grade 12 have started their exams, we send our best wishes to all grade 12 learners as they undertake their final examinations. Education remains the most powerful tool to uplift and empower our youth, particularly those from rural and marginalized communities. In the words of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, open quote, yesterday's heroes called for spears and guns to defend the nation. Today's heroes demand education to save the nation, close quote. Grade 12 is the gateway to opportunity, and we encourage every learner to persevere as they shape not only their futures, but that of our country. Although our women's Proteas team narrowly missed victory in the World Cup final on the 20th of October 2024, we are proud of their remarkable achievement. You may have heard the Honorable Speaker only could speak of Banyana, less about the women Proteas. Their journey inspires us all and underscores the importance of investing in women's sports. It is unfortunate that this accomplishment did not receive the recognition it deserves, and we must do more to promote women's sport going forward. We also congratulate Phumelela Kafu for his incredible victory in Japan, where he won the WBO Junior Bantamweight belt. His achievement serves as a reminder that with dedication and talent, greatness can emerge from our province and inspire future generations. These strides go a long way in taking away youth from the life of crime and creating role models in which millions of young people will seek to emulate and by such create a better South Africa and the Eastern Cape. The recent massacres in our province are a tragic reminder of the need for the urgent interventions to combat crime and violence. Strengthening law enforcement, fostering community cooperation, and prioritizing safety must be at the forefront of our efforts as government. A peaceful society is essential for sustainable development. Chair of Chairs, we condemn the emergence of extortionists in our province in the form of protection fee demands to the emerging and established businesses. Starting a business in our own townships is a clear invitation of criminals to yourself and your beloved ones. This cannot be when we are trying to encourage domestic and foreign business to invest in our shores. Given this, we are encouraging victims of this racketeering to report these culprits to the law enforcement agencies so that they can be dealt with accordingly. At the occasion of releasing quarterly crime stats on the 30th of August, Minister Mkono reported that crime is generally on the increase and that crimes that should worry us most are murder, rape, hijacking, kidnapping for ransom payments, and extortion. 4 of the 9 provinces recorded increase in murder cases, with the highest increase recorded in the Western Cape, followed by Northwest, then the Eastern Cape and Limpopo. All the top 30 stations for murder were in only 4 provinces, namely Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, and Gauteng. The leading stations among them were Nyanga, followed by Inanda, Umlazi, College, and Harare, mainly from the Western Cape. All these categories we have just mentioned, Eastern Cape always feature, and it features prominently. The ratio of murders committed per capita per province, the Eastern Cape stands at 17.6%, followed by the Western Cape at 15.3%. In 2022-2023, 19,418 reported cases of common assault and assault with GBH crimes were committed against children, making up about 45% of all reported crimes against children in this period. Rape was the most reported crime against children, accounting for 38.3% of all cases involving minors. Although the numbers of incidents has decreased, it remains a significant concern due to its traumatic impact on young victims. The first quarter of 2024-2025 recorded an increase in the number of women and children murdered and sexually assaulted compared to the same period last year. According to police crime stats, conduct crimes, which include murder, robbery, sexual offenses, and assault, increased by 2.6%, 253,657 incidents in the first quarter running from April to June 2024, from the same period in 2023. Most of these crimes took place in residences, public places, liquor outlets, spaza shops, and educational institutions. According to the report titled Child Series Volume 3, Reported Crime Against Children in 2022-2023, released by Stats South Africa, a significant number of reported crimes against children in South Africa involve sexual offenses, with girls being victimized more frequently than boys. Stats South Africa's Governance, Public Safety and Justice Survey 2023-24 reveals a decline in the sense of safety among individuals walking in their neighborhood during the day and at night since 2019-2020. This trend is particularly pronounced amongst families who reported feeling less safe walking in their neighborhood after dark compared to males. Additionally, the percentage of people who feel safe walking alone during the day fell from 86.6% in 2019-20 to 84.8% in 2020-21, continued to decline throughout the reporting period, and reaching 80.4% in 2023-24. The maltreatment of women and children in the form of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse is a behavior that our communities and families must not tolerate and unwittingly make it a social norm. The impact of these forms of abuse of the victims are too ghastly to contemplate, as they, more often than not, result into unfathomable physical and psychological scars that diminish their life opportunities and or prospects. Families and the society at large must not tolerate violence between intimate partners, as this may lead to the death of one or both partners at the same time. Honorable Chair of Chairs, we have been socialized not to interfere in disputes that involve intimate partners, as we may be left with an egg on our face when the two ultimately reconcile. We are saying the time of laissez-faire, when the limbs of our sisters are at stake, is over and never to return. We must pay particular attention to the young boys, as they must grow and appreciate their girl counterparts as equals that must be loved and not abused, harmed, or killed. While the stats give us a clear picture of where we stand in as far as crime is concerned, there have been several notable successes. On drug bust, we have witnessed notable progress in operations targeting drug syndicates, leading to the seizure of substantial quantities of illegal narcotics. These actions disrupt the drug trade and protect our communities from the devastating effects of drug abuse. I think it was raised sharply by one old man. We are also pleased that police have executed daring and successful rescues of kidnapped individuals, even here in the province. These operations demonstrate the bravery and skill of our police force and provide a glimmer of hope in the face of a troubled situation. In response to the rising crime levels in Mthatha and Gqeberha, particularly extortion, we appreciate the deployment of officials from specialized units to these areas. This targeted intervention aims to address specific challenges and bring relief to communities experiencing heightened crime rates. We have witnessed the arrest of dangerous criminals by the high-skilled detectives from here in the province, working with the well-trained and skilled units of the South African Police Service, tasked with high-value target operations, as well as medium and high-risk policing operations. The elite crime-fighting machinery in the form of tactical response team, tracking teams, special investigators, detectives, Hawks and the National Intervention Unit. We welcome the successes that have been registered in the arrests of people involved in serious crimes, with arrest of suspects behind the Lusikisiki massacre at Port Shepstone. The work of the SAPS has, through intelligence-led operations, covert operations and weekly high-density operations, resulted in the arrest of many criminals, especially dangerous and hardened criminals around Mthatha, Ngeleni, Tsolo, Qobo and Gqeberha, East London, Dutwa, Ngamakwe, and many parts of our province through the capable stewardship of Honorable Ngat. Madam Chair of Chairs, as the ANC, we are of the view that crime intelligence information remains central in the takedown of armed and ruthless gangs. We have heard that one of those ruthless individuals tried to fight back to the police officials, and he has then paid the price for such undermining. Crime intelligence operators, with the work of informants. No, I want to emphasize this one, Chair of Chairs. Crime intelligence operators, with the work of informants, officially now, and units within the SAPS must continue to clamp down on organized crimes linked to kidnapping, extortions, killings, and insurance-related matters. To acquire insurer, we must be careful. These decisive actions demonstrate absolute intolerance of crime and give practical meaning to the ANC's commitment to eradicate the scourge of crime in all its manifestations. As the ANC, we recognize that combating crime requires a holistic approach and collaboration amongst departments such as SAPS, the Department of Social Development, the Department of Justice, Correctional Services, and Basic Education, together to map out areas of cooperation, implementing a whole of government and whole of society approach to tackle the root causes of crime and build safer communities. It is also clear that the moment calls on society at large to lead the charge within our legal framework in rooting out criminality in our communities and our homes. This would also include reporting to the authorities, drug peddlers, and other criminals. Crime is a societal problem affecting the entire nation, regardless of class, race, and geographic footprint. It remains incumbent upon all of us to support the work of these teams and the SAPS in general. Chair of Chairs, we recommend that law enforcement agencies should spare no effort and without fear nor favor ensure that they apprehend, charge, and convict those criminal elements within our midst who continue to terrorize our communities, but also make a strong call on our government to implement stricter gun laws and harsher sentences. Chair of Chairs, it is our considered view that law expects no one to be a coward. Men and women in blue have an obligation to protect themselves and members of the community from the daring criminals when their lives are in danger. Further, we call upon our government to intensify the fight against the scourge of crime in our communities through reinforcing with the South African National Defence Force personnel. We believe that a proper and thorough search controls through coordinated roadblocks by law enforcement agencies across the province will help to avert transportation of high-caliber firearms from one location to the other. This was the case after the recent barbaric killings of innocent souls in Lusikisiki. We believe that we have to have these roadblocks done because the commuting of these high-caliber rifles is done in our roads. Whilst we are claiming that the Eastern Cape, we have turned it into a construction site. That construction sites benefit the ends of transportation and the committing of crime by these criminals, which we must then intensify and bring back the roadblock by the police services working with the South African National Defence Force. Ultimately, we call upon our provincial government to resuscitate the discussion to convene crime indaba in our province and invite all critical stakeholders in order to develop a people-centered and shared strategies that seeks to strengthen the fight against crime and gender-based violence and femicide in order to restore peace and stability in our communities. In conclusion, Chair of Chairs, we encourage the government to continue with its awareness, education and community engagement campaigns, as we believe that these will go a long way in fortifying our fight against this wanton violence unleashed against our communities, especially women, children and the elderly. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. I will therefore call political parties to debate the matter of public importance. I will start with the Democratic Alliance. Honorable Dr. Kutsia, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Last night, I went to a meeting of the concerned citizens of the PE Metro. That is an NPO that is aiming their efforts on preventing and fighting crime in the Metro. And I want to share this with you because it reminded me of something. And I think we've all been through that and lived through that. When we are in a situation where we deal with victims of violent crime, when we get to know people that have been murdered and lost their lives in South Africa, we all cry out about it, we all put it on Facebook, and we all say, we must ensure that this never, ever happens again. But then life happens, and we go on with our lives. The reality is that we have to ask the question, do you know who do not get to go on with their lives? Do you know for who it is not life as usual? And that is for the victims of violent crime. It is for the parents and brothers and sisters and families of those people that have been affected by crime in the Eastern Cape and in South Africa. So I want to ask today that we must be very honest about where we are when we decide to go on this mission to really fight crime in the Eastern Cape. Because the reality is this. Just last night, 5 people were killed in New Brighton. 6 people in Kunu last week. 18 people in Lutsikisiki a couple of weeks ago. And yes, a couple of days ago, another woman kidnapped on her way from East London to Port St. John's. Because there's a sophisticated syndicate operating in our province. Do you know that in the last month, 1,100 people were murdered in the Eastern Cape? That is 13 people every single day. And we have to get to the point where we ask ourselves, is this the Eastern Cape that we want? And we mustn't ask ourselves and wonder why our lives have become so cheap, because I will tell you why our lives have become so cheap. Because we've got a department that is underfunded to keep the citizens of this province safe. We've got a police force that has been so hollowed out by cadre deployment that police officers have lost all morale. How would you feel? You have to ask yourself, how would you feel if it was you? When people get promoted past you, that have spent only a few years there, a few months. People that are promoted based not on merit, but on political affiliation. It is because we've got a police force that is completely under-resourced and understaffed.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Honorable Kasim, you have 6 minutes. Yes, you have 6 minutes. No. I've got 6 minutes in front of me. 6 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Ours is a province under siege, and as mentioned by the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, in the latest quarterly crime statistics over the 3-month period, April to June, 1,169 people were murdered in our province, 13 people every single day. And whilst the politicians have flown in and out of our province, making grand promises, the gang shootings, the extortion killings and kidnappings, and the massacres have continued. And the interventions made have been underwhelming and are clearly not working. The gang bosses and extortion kingpins continue to operate with impunity and remain untouchable. Political spin will not protect the lives of our people, and we should be standing together as MPLs of this province, demanding better for our province, because our people deserve better. Now, the South African Police Service is a national competency. It falls under national government. It's not the fault of our provincial government. But SAPS clearly has not come to the party, unless, of course, we believe that this continued crisis is the Eastern Cape that we want. Beyond SAPS, what we as MPLs should be asking ourselves, elected by the residents of our province, what can we be doing more in order to fight crime in the provincial government? And in responding to this question, Honourable Chairperson, there are two proposals that I will put to the House in this debate. And these include, number one, budgeting appropriately for our provincial community safety department as we argued for during the budget debates. And number two, creating an interdepartmental team and committee in our provincial government and legislature which will develop and prioritize holistic interventions to crime in our province. Unfortunately, from a budgetary standpoint, in our provincial government, it has been business as usual. The Department of Community Safety, which is led by Ms. Ngata, is given a mere 144.84 million rand, which represents just 0.15% of the provincial budget. Now, we all had an opportunity to fix this after the elections when the budgets were put to the legislature, and yet despite the Budget and Money Bills Committee expressing concern about the amount that was budgeted for the Honourable Ngata's department, MPLs on the right-hand side all rubber-stamped this budget. Our neighbours in the Western Cape have budgeted more than 5 times more for their Department of Safety. And this is in the context where they receive less in their total provincial budget than we receive as the Eastern Cape. And they've done so in order to support the effort of SAPS. We know SAPS is failing, but they've done so to support the efforts of SAPS to protect the people of their province in what way they can. And this enabled them to invest in additional boots on the ground and state-of-the-art crime-fighting technology. Now, we've spoken about some of this technology before, and it has included, for example, gun detection technology without the kind of interruptions we've had here in Nelson Mandela Bay because the contract was not renewed. They've also partnered with the City of Cape Town in deploying a state-of-the-art eye-in-the-sky information, surveillance and recon technology, which can fly higher than drones and equipped with both HD and infrared cameras. This is deployed alongside other technologies such as drones, dash cams, body cams, gunshot detection, license plate recognition cameras, where they can track the vehicle movements within their province, and EPIC, which is a master digital coordination system. The City of Cape Town alone, which is one metro in that province, is spending more than our entire province on safety technology, having spent more than 200 million rand in this current financial year. The Western Cape has also launched its own rural safety and K9 units in Swartland, Overstrand and Mossel Bay, which have made over 1,700 arrests. And instead of just announcing more boots on the ground, which never came from our province or from local government, the Law Enforcement Advancement Plan LEAP officers, which started in 2020 across 13 priority areas, along with a reaction unit with over 1,300 provincial LEAP officers were deployed. And since their inception, they have confiscated 564 firearms and made 28,200 arrests. Now our province can do the same. We as MPLs still have the opportunity in the adjustment budget process which is coming up in order to make this right, to go beyond paying the lip service that gets paid on crime prevention. And we will not win this fight with improved law enforcement alone. And this is why I'd like to challenge the Acting Premier and our Speaker to put together an interdepartmental team and committee in our provincial government and in our legislature, and the purpose of which would be to look at holistic crime prevention interventions and gaps from different departments and to keep those at the center of our work, particularly in the zero-based budgeting that we claim to want to implement in our province. As an example, things like schools of skills. We only have 2 schools of skills in the Eastern Cape, Baysville in East London and Westview here in Nelson Mandela Bay, whilst in the Western Cape they've got 13. They're the only province that produces a skills certificate, whilst we don't do the same. And much has been said this morning by the community about the lack of public rehabilitation centers, dignified shelters for victims of abuse, and skills centers in our province. The best way to stop a
Honorable
bullet is
Kasim.
with a skill, a job,
Honorable
and the
Kasim.
right treatment for our
Honorable
people.
Kasim.
And together we can make this a
Honorable
reality
Kasim.
if we get our priorities correct. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Economic Freedom Fighters, Honorable Werner. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs. Greetings to yourself and the honorable members, the leadership of Nelson Mandela that is present here, and the church leaders. We acknowledge your presence, and we greet the people of Nelson Mandela who are hosting us today. Chair of Chairs, we are invited to debate here this serious issue that is facing our country and especially our province. The latest crime statistic revealed that the Eastern Cape is the 3rd province with the highest number of recorded murder cases in the country. 6 of the province police stations remain in the country's top 30 police station with highest recorded murder cases. 2 of those 6 are in OR Tambo. 4 of them, they are here in Nelson Mandela. We will name them. It's New Brighton Police Station, Kwanobuhle, just next door, Motherwell, and Kwazakale. Chair of Chairs, today I stand before you not to merely speak about crime and gender-based violence and femicide, but to convey the cries of our people, our mothers, daughters, brothers, and children whose lives are stolen daily by a silent war we cannot even name. I stand before you, Chair of Chairs, calling for this House to urgently confront this crisis that is tearing apart the very fabric of the Eastern Cape, a province currently known as the murder capital of the entire country. It is not only the daily murders and violent crimes plunging our communities, but also the rampage gender-based violence and femicide that has turned our homes, streets, and schools into war zone for women and children. Just these past weeks, we witnessed 11 people killed in 2 mass shootings, only days apart. One of them in Kumbu, where 6 community patrollers were gunned down while preparing for duty, and in Biki, where 5 family members were shot dead. These horrific incidents, honorable members, are not isolated. Last month, we saw a horrific murder of 18 family members in a massacre that shook the whole nation. A massacre that only confirmed the fear our communities live with daily. A fear that at any moment, another family will be wiped out in cold blood. This terror, honorable members, is not confined to men and boys. Not only were majority of those victims who were mass murdered women, but women across the province are under siege. The Eastern Cape remains one of the most dangerous places to be a woman in South Africa. We have places like Lusikisiki where more than 40 women are raped every month. And gender-based violence is rampage in Amtata to Komani, from Gqeberha to Butterworth. This is a province where women and children are not safe, where the idea of a home has become a place of terror for many. Some of the most gut-wrenching stories of inhumane acts are from this province. The whole country cannot speak on GBVF and not recall the likes of Nosicelo, Ntebeni, and Nolivuyo Ndema Nokwela. May their soul find rest. Gender-based violence is no longer a social issue. It is a national emergency. In a single day, over 120 cases of GBVF are reported nationwide. Many of them are from the Eastern Cape. Women are being murdered in their homes, children are abused, and justice remains elusive. The recent headlines of women being raped and murdered, even in places that should offer them sanctuary, show how just deeply entrenched this violence has become. Recent crime statistics reveal that about 13 people are killed every day in the Eastern
Honorable
Cape.
Vena, your time is up. Thank you very much. Can I call Patriotic Alliance, Honorable Aramso? Your 3 minutes starts now.
Good afternoon to the Honorable Chair of Chairs, the Honorable Acting Premier, Honorable MECs, Honorable members, and in particular members of the community that remain. I observe all protocol. Today I have the opportunity to make my brief address under the heading of the impact of escalating violent crime and GBVF cases in our communities. Now, it is no secret that criminal conduct is being perpetuated in our communities, even as I address you right now. Somewhere, someone is busy committing an offense and someone else is a victim in the making. Criminals are so brazen and seemingly without respect for the laws of our country and for members of our law enforcement machinery. I was asked to confine my address to violent crimes and GBVF, and to this end, 3 minutes will never even scratch the surface, but I'll try my best. I was asked to Chairperson, sorry, can you protect me because there's a lot of noise on the side, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Honorable members, can you not drown the speaker? Can you not drown the speaker
Thank you.
on the floor? Thank you very much. You can continue.
I want to highlight several contributing factors to the scourge of our communities that our communities are facing. Lack of economic opportunities, very high unemployment rates, especially in the Eastern Cape. Increasing poverty levels can make people desperate, but the adverse is also true. It's not only the poor who are committing violent crimes and perpetuating GBVF. We have well and truly come into the era of protection fees or extortion, organized crime syndication, gangsterism in the northern areas and in Kariga, and the spread of illegal firearms. The latter is a compounding factor and makes the already hard task of combating crime even harder. Communities are steeped in a mixture of fear, helplessness, and apathy as they don't have much confidence in the criminal justice system and or their political leaders. As per the quarterly criminal statistics released earlier in August, KwaZulu and New Brighton police stations have the highest number of crimes reported, and the province has the highest number of rapes reported. The stats read like a horror movie, and it is conspicuous that there is a crisis. The metro does not exist in silo, but I separate it as a case study for my address. Women, children, and the elderly are the most vulnerable of the casualties in the metro and experience horrifying trauma as a result of violent crimes. I could wax lyrical about the variations and intersections of violent crimes in GBVF, but one has only to pick up a newspaper and the weeping will start. In closing, we must confront the harsh reality that the impact of escalating violent crimes and gender-based violence in our communities is not just a statistic. It is a painful truth affecting lives, families, and futures. To quell criminal conduct, we must prioritize collaborative efforts amongst community members, law enforcement, and political leaders. By implementing comprehensive community outreach programs, increasing investment in economic opportunities, youth employment initiatives, and fostering a culture of reporting crimes without fear of retribution. We must advocate for stronger policies to combat organized crime and ensure law enforcement agencies are adequately equipped to deal with challenges. It is our collective responsibility to reclaim our communities, foster a sense of safety, and advocate for justice and accountability. As we reflect on the words of former President Nelson Mandela, it is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it.
Orana Brahms, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I call upon the Freedom Front Plus? Your 3 minutes
Thank you,
starts
Chairperson.
now.
Gender-based violence, the silent killer. In June 2020, The President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, described GBV as the country's second pandemic, as this form of violence in South Africa continued to increase at an alarming rate. GBV is a disturbing and escalating challenge in South Africa, where 969 women and 245 children were murdered during the first 3 months of 2023. This is a scanner. In the same period, 10,512 cases of rape reported. It is common knowledge that not all rapes are reported to the police, as victims are afraid or unwilling to report the case out of fear. Women and children are particularly vulnerable to violence in South Africa due to a culture of violence. Men and boys also experience GBV. Die tyd het aangebreek dat Suid-Afrikaanse vrouens besef hulle heil gaan van hulself afhang. Hul bemagtiging en hul toekoms lê nie by die regering of in 'n regeringsprojek of iemand anders nie. Die tyd het aangebreek dat die vrouens vir hulself opstaan, soos hulle opgestaan het by die Unie-geboue met die paswette. Dat hulle saam staan en sterk staan teen die onderdrukking en diskriminasie wat daagliks ervaar word, waarvan geslagsgeweld die grootste is. Vrouens in Suid-Afrika verdien beter. To effectively combat gender-based violence against women and girls, it is crucial to educate both women and men about women's rights and their responsibilities in promoting and defending those rights. Achieving gender equality requires active and continuous support from all members of society. Men in particular play a significant role in addressing GBV and promoting gender equality. Geweldsmisdaad in Suid-Afrika het toegeneem. Ons, die Port Elizabeth Kabega, is nou die hoofmisdaadstad in Suid-Afrika. Ek praat as 'n oud polisieman. Ons het nie genoeg polisiemanne nie, ons kan sê net wat ons wil. Hulle kan nie al die werk behartig nie. Ons het nie genoeg opgeleide speurders nie. Wat is die antwoord in Suid-Afrika? Die gemeenskap moet meer betrokke raak. Ja, ons weet baie keer wie is die kriminele, maar ons swyg om die kriminele te beskerm. Môre huil ons as ons sien die siekie gevalle wat plaasvind in Suid-Afrika. Ek wil 'n boodskap vir die vrouens sê vandag. We must cherish our women, always support other women. 'n Vrou het geskryf, I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. Kom ons loof die vrouens van Suid-Afrika, ons moeders, op wie ons so trots is. Is 'n skande, en ek dink ons as mans doen nie genoeg om dit te verhoed nie. Baie dankie.
Thank you very much, Honorable May. Honorable Aramse, for your comfort, when you complain about being drowned, I did pause your minutes. So when I was putting the order, your minutes were on pause. Thank you very much. Can I then call upon Honorable Mampofu? Where is Honorable Mampofu? Oh, he's not? Okay. Oh, okay, sure. Can I then call upon Honorable Ngobo, MKP? Your 3 minutes starts now, Honorable Ngobo.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the escalating crime violence is real, Honorable Chair. It is visible in our communities. Defenseless people, especially women and children, are killed daily. People live in fear. This threatens a person's physical and psychological integrity. It has a negative impact in the economy. The second quarter crime statistics 2023-24 recorded as follows. 10,516 rape cases, 1,514 attempted murder cases, and 14,401 assault against female victims. These numbers, Honorable Chair, are not good at all. People have a right to live in a safe and secure environment. The present concerted efforts in ensuring that the people are living in safe and secure environment is not enough. Continuous killing of innocent women and children and all people translate is in the lacking of people's protection. It means, therefore, people are not really secure and free. They are not protected. The recent incidences in Lusikisiki and Bikyo proves that people are not protected. In Port Alfred, there is a child who was lost a long time ago. Chair, he was found in recent weeks. His bones were found in the sewer. This proves that really gender-based violence is serious and women are killed day and night and children are struggling. Any institution failing to protect its people, it's a failing institution. Be it a family, be it a church, be it any administration. If it fails to protect its people, it will be regarded as a failing institution. People have a right to live in a crime-free environment. Let us fight this Goliath called crime together. Let us use all the available resources to fight this Goliath crime. David used what he had during his time. He won the fight. Let us use all the resources available to win this battle. Abantu bayaphela, isizwe sinqunguphele. Omama bayaphela. Masisebenzeni sibancede abantu bakaThixo bonke khona ukuze isizwe sethu sibonakala ukuthi simelwe ngabantu.
Thank you.
Chairperson, people are scared.
Honorable Ngcobo, thank
We
you
are
very
all
much.
scared. I'm not sure how
Honorable
many
Ngcobo.
people is going to die. Thank you.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
May I call upon the African National Congress, Honorable Ngata, your 14 minutes starts now.
Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Acting Premier, the honorable members gathered here, the DG, HODs, Honorable Deputy Executive Mayor and all councillors, representatives from Chapter 9 institution. I see our new PSC is here, my former HOD, Mr. Mapolisa, and all sector department represented and stakeholders. Good afternoon. Honorable Chair of Chairs, as I stand here today, I wish to join other honorable members in expressing our anger and condemnation of the recent incidents that have visited our province. From Lusikisiki, before we could bury Lusikisiki, victims, we saw Kumbu. Before we buried in Kumbu, we saw Biji. Now, before Biji, we're seeing this one in Krisani, in New Brighton. It is a moment not for politicking. It is a moment for public representatives to unite. It is an opportunity for us as patriots to unite, be on the one side and face criminality. It is a moment to display our encouragement and confidence to the men and women in blue. As I stand here, Honorable Chair of Chairs, I stand here clear on two things. Where there is certainty. There is certainty now in the province that if you commit murder, you're going to be arrested. There is evidence we have arrested in all these murders that have occurred. On this one, Just when I was from the scene this morning, police were pursuing one criminal. And when they caught him, he drew a firearm. Will not be disturbed by him anymore now. So in all these incidents, we are now certain you won't commit crime and not account for it. We're now certain that you will not draw a firearm against the police and still be here tomorrow. We're certain about those things. But we're arguing quite strongly because that work has been done because of the collaboration of all these forces, including crime intelligence, to trace the criminals. But we are the first one to say that is not enough, because one of the key pillars of our provincial crime strategy is to prevent criminality. And therefore, that's what we're going to be escalating going forward. I would want to urge members that it would be a mistake not to recognize the work of SAPS. It would be a mistake not to recognize the fact that our province, the prisons in our province, are 175% overcrowded. They are leading throughout the country. Those who are in prison did not march to prison. They have been arrested by members of SAPS, hard-working men and women. That work must be recognized of people who make sacrifices to ensure that South Africans are safe. And therefore, public reps have got a very huge responsibility to build confidence into security forces than to erode that confidence. Unless they have got something to tell us, maybe they are dependent on Makinza, that's why then they would rubbish SAPS in that way. Honorable Chair, these incidents will not deter our efforts to fight against criminality. We have taken steps. Years are not enough. The budget is not enough. That is agreed. But with the available budget, here in the metro, we have added not less than 300 new police officers from the 1,000 that emerged from the province. Here in the metro, we have added 95 safety brigades to be additional foot on the ground. It is here in the metro that we have added vehicles to fight against crime. It would be a mistake, whilst people are bragging about Western Cape and the money that is available, it is a mistake not to recognize that the Western Cape is what it is today because of the blood and sweat of the Khoi and the African people. For Khoi were the slaves there. For the Africans, were working there for years, providing cheap labor. That's why you have got a province that is industrialized, able to have its own revenue, unlike our own rural province. So that part of history must not be forgotten, that they have that money because of the blood of the Khoi, and that must be remembered. So don't come and stand here. Don't come and stand here with your blood, with your hands full of blood, and make us to think that we are a patriot. It's quite important that that must be recorded. We have discussed, because this fight is quite important, it needs the whole of society. It needs the whole leadership across political parties to be at the head against crime. Thugs must stand on the other side. Genuine patriots must be on the other side. We must deal with them. We cannot surrender this country to criminality. This country and the freedom that we have came as a result of blood. It cannot be taken by any thugs. We in the ANC, we are not about to do that, and we will never do it. We will lead the fight against criminality to ensure that people enjoy the rights that in the Constitution to feel free in our own country. We want our people to be together with us. As we mark this month, the OR Tambo month, OR Tambo will lead us to ensure that we have got organs of people's power for people to take control of their communities and their streets. This is what we're calling upon us. Myself and Honorable Williams, we have agreed already that what we're going to do, and the comrades in Sanko must not complain. We said, what are you going to do? Both COGTA and community safety, we're going to use the ward committees, appoint one member in each ward committee to be responsible to form street committees and area committees. And what we're going to do, the one responsible to coordinate that task will get an additional stipend from EPWP. HOD for community safety is working on the concept document. We'll be taking to cabinet. The Premier has agreed, leader of cabinet business, that we must bring in as a special item. I know you don't like special items. We'll bring in. So the Premier has agreed. We are determined on this fight, and we're going to win. We're going to work collaboratively. We're calling upon the community to come and work with us in this fight. Because for criminals are in the community, are in the households. We know them, they don't fall from the trees. That is why we have launched an extortion hotline. That is why we have got a toll-free line, so that we can bring forward this information, so that we can bring criminals to book. Once again, we wish to pledge our solidarity to the families who have lost their loved ones, but we would want to put on record that the reasons for these murders are not simply, it's a number of reasons. It's either it's a historic family feud and a revenge fight. It's either it has got to do with drugs and thefts over, drugs. It's either it's revenge, it's either it's drugs, it's either it's jealousy. But it can't be sufficient. It can't be justified. No matter can be justified. But it tells you that there's another reason behind Lendokshiwa. And SAPs are doing their work to ensure that we get to the bottom of it. But the matter is a complex one. It's historic. We are dealing with it. But we're inviting the community to work with us to defeat crime. We're going to ensure that we have got very strong organs of people's power. We want your support. My colleagues sitting on the wrong side, because we're supposed to be on the right side. You don't, including this one, it's supposed to be on the right side, this one. Including this one, the red one, it's supposed to be on the right. So, the honorable members, honorable chair, it is really a privilege for me, on behalf of the African National Congress, to once again assure the people of the province that we'll leave no stone unturned to ensure that criminals are brought to book. We must do this work together as a team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. I will call upon the Honorable Acting Premier, Honorable Mpoko. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Greetings to the members of the Executive Council, the Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip, and all members of the legislature, the community at large, Ukolo Chief Chairs, Chief Whip. Let me thank you, Honorable MEC Ngata, for the comprehensive insight you have provided to this House on the work the government is doing to fight crime in the Eastern Cape. Let me also appreciate the deep sense of responsibility and empathy that members of the House have debated our topic today. Safe to say, I am, a lack of a better word, disheartened, flabbergasted, downhearted, and appalled by the hypocrisy displayed by Honorable Kasim when he approaches this topic. As MEC Ngata has pointed out, we indeed are all saddened and concerned by the recent spate of violent crime that has engulfed some of our communities. We have, over the past few months, witnessed a spate of cash in transit heists extortions, and now the killing of families in the number of towns, as mentioned by Honorable Ngata, Lusitisiki, Kumbu, Piki, and now Kroko here in New Brighton through the barrel of a gun. In those 5 incidents actually, we lost more than 30 people, many of them members of the same families who were men and women and children. None of us anticipated such murderous spree as in our rural communities, and this has thrust our province in a very negative spotlight. Clearly, this indicates that the fight against violent crime is far from over. We are entrusted by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa with the responsibility to protect our citizens or the citizens of this province. And in response to the recent killings, we are working closely with the Minister of Police to improve police visibility, strengthen strategic police operations, and intelligence gathering to prevent crime. So it is not, as Honorable Kasim puts it, that is politicians coming in and going out, nothing happens. Additionally, we are deploying specialized police teams to deal with prevalent crimes such as extortion, stock theft, and proliferation of guns in our communities. I must hasten to add that justice will be served to the individuals that have committed the heinous crimes in our province. Some of the individuals responsible for the heinous crimes have been found and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Law enforcement is working tirelessly to ensure that all perpetrators are brought to justice, and we will not rest until that happens. As we approach the festive season, I urge our communities to remain vigilant and continue to work with law enforcement to ensure our community's safety. The government is doing its part, but communities, we must also come together to support one another, rebuild and reclaim our streets. I think I support the idea by Honorable MEC Ngata. But I'm not sure about the part where he's doing MTEX here and trying to lobby for funding. There is a route for that one. Even the EXCO is not going to disturb that route. They will have to follow the route to acquire those funds. We know how crime affects us. Most of us grew in these areas where crime has been rife. So when there is a call for us to ensure that we revive the organs of people's power, we all ought to support that. Last month, the Minister of Police gathered all stakeholders here in Nelson Mandela Metro to sign a cooperation agreement for fighting crime. And that cooperation agreement symbolizes our collective resolve to forge a future where safety, prosperity, and social cohesion are not just aspirations, but lived realities for every citizen. We must solidify a partnership that unites all spheres of government and civil society, aligning our efforts to address the pressing challenges of crime, poverty, and inequality. You've seen that the recent statistics show a glimmer of hope. They are a beacon of hope. We've seen that the decrease in murder cases by 32.1%, reduction in attempted murders by 23.4%, 39.2% decline in sexual offenses, 43% in a drop in assaults with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, a 28.5% decrease in common assaults. These figures are not mere numbers. They represent lives saved, communities safeguarded, and a positive shift towards a safer Eastern Cape. Yet we remain cognizant of the challenges that persist, particularly here in Nelson Mandela Bay. This area continues to grapple with crime and social disparities that undermine our collective progress. We recognize that crime often stems from socio-economic hardships. Therefore, our approach must be holistic, addressing the root causes. A thriving economy is the backbone of a safe and prosperous community. We aim to build trust between law enforcement and residents through transparency and mutual respect. We aim to implement proactive measures to deter crime, such as improved lighting, surveillance, and neighborhood watch program. The cooperation agreement we endorsed last month is a blueprint for our collective action. It is under the governing party, in its recent manifesto, has 6 priorities that we are going to pursue in the 7th term. And one of those priorities is defending democracy and advancing freedom. It's under this priority that the ANC-led government has outlined its plans to keep our homes and streets safe. We have taken this policy stance simply because crime is an antithesis for development and works against our vision of building the Eastern Cape we want. Therefore, we can't and we will not exist with criminals. I invite all stakeholders to work with government to seize the opportunity to align our efforts, pool our resources together, and move forward with a unified purpose of fighting crime in the Eastern Cape. Together, we will build an Eastern Cape that not only overcomes the challenges of crime and inequality, but also stands as a beacon of hope of what can be achieved through collective will and strong governance. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Acting Premier. Honorable members, we now come to the debate of the reports of the portfolio committees that were presented this morning, and we'll start with the Social Development Portfolio Committee. And honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, before I call the members to debate the reports, I would like to inform the House that the members of the public will only observe the proceeding as the honorable members are debating, because members of the public were already given an opportunity to do so in the morning. We will start with, just before we start, honorable members, you might have seen, honorable members, that I don't interject in terms of reminding you of time. The Chief Whip did something unprecedented when he was making a presentation here. Almost stick to his time. And then I realized, indeed, it is a multi-party whip that allocates time. So it means you know your time that you should be on the stand. Now thank you very much. Yeah. The vote, an endeavor, can you? The endeavor. Oh, no. I was saying when the Chief Whip was making a presentation here, introducing the debate, you might have seen that he kept his time. In fact, it was a demonstration that it is indeed a multi-party whip that allocates time in terms of debate and speaking. So I expect all members to stick to their time. I won't interject in terms of 1 minute or 2 minutes, because the leader of the multi-party whip has actually demonstrated that you can keep your time. Now we are debating social development report, and I will call the first speaker, which is going to be Democratic Alliance, Honorable Evers. Your 9 minutes. Your 9 minutes starts now.
Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Acting Premier, Honorable Members, all protocol observed. Molweni, goeiedag, good day. I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to all the NGOs and NPOs in our communities. Your work under difficult circumstances make a real difference in the lives of people. In my speech, I will highlight a few of these organizations and the crucial work they do. Today, I want to share important feedback from our recent visits to Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. This isn't just another report. It is about our community and the people we care about. Let me start with the Lorraine Frail Care Center. Our frail senior citizens and those needing specialized care are stuck in limbo. The provincial government announced plans to develop a state-owned frail care center, but years later, nothing has materialized. People who desperately need care are left waiting. Kufuneka siqinisekise ukuba abantu bethu abadala bayakhathalelwa ngendlela efanelekileyo ngoku hayi ngomso. Frail care isn't just an old age home. It is for people who can no longer care for themselves due to physical or mental conditions. They need specialized care and support that many families can't provide at home. We call on the MEC of Social Development to urgently resolve issues surrounding the Lorraine Frail Care Center. We also visited the Galvin Park Frail Care Center, which provides much needed care but urgently requires upgrades like fresh paint and new furniture. Ons bejaardes verdien om in waardigheid te lewe. Ons moet seker maak dat die plekke waar hulle versorg word in 'n goeie toestand is. This center is currently at maximum capacity and the list for vulnerable elderly individuals is substantial in the Nelson Mandela Bay. The issue of drug and substance abuse remains a major challenge in our province. We desperately need more facilities like the Ernest Malgas Treatment Center to help those struggling with addiction, especially our youth. Currently, the center has reached its maximum capacity with many young people on a waiting list. The scourge of drug and substance addiction in our province requires much more than just one rehabilitation facility to make a dent in the number of those who need and want to be free from drug addiction. What particularly is concerning is this is the only center of its kind in the province and appears that male patients are given preference over females because of certain factors. It is evident that the impact of drug addiction among young ladies is just as serious as it is among young men. Recently, I traveled through Mthatha on the N2 Nelson Mandela Drive Road. At the traffic lights, there was a group of very young boys inhaling glue from milk boxes. You could see that these young children were homeless and indulging this very bad activity, which will likely lead to harder drug use in the near future. I call on the Department of Social Development to initiate the establishment of treatment centers similar to the Ernest Malgas Treatment Center in all districts of the Eastern Cape Province as a starting point. Ukusebenzisa iziyobisi yingxaki enkulu kwiphondo lethu. Kufuneka sibe namaziko amaninzi ukunceda abantu abachatshazelwa zezi ziyobisi. Food security is another major concern. While we appreciate the Masibambisane Nutrition and Development Center, more must be done. Too many children are suffering from malnutrition, which is both tragic and unacceptable. Our visit highlighted urgent issues requiring immediate attention. These issues are being forwarded to the MEC of Social Development for urgent intervention. On a positive note, we visited the Green Tech Youth Project. We applaud the youth of Green Tech for pioneering this initiative and invite all young unemployed youth to follow suit. These young people demonstrated resourcefulness by merging their skills to establish a business fostering employment for themselves, their peers. I hereby call on all relevant government stakeholders to give them support to help them grow their business. Together, we can ensure that our most vulnerable citizens receive the support they need. As we conclude, During the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, our thoughts and prayers are with all women battling with this disease. May they find strength and courage in their journey, supported by their families and communities, and guided by their faith in our Almighty God. The Democratic Alliance is committed to building a caring society where everyone can thrive. Masisebenzisane kunye ukuba nekamva elingcono kuba bonke abantu bethu. Kom ons werk saam vir 'n beter toekoms vir almal in ons gemeenskappe. Thank you, baie dankie. Ndiyabulela.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Yevers. May I call upon the Economic Freedom Fighters, Honorable Bodoza. Your 5 minutes starts now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Ndivumele emva kwemini ndithi nqanga nentsiba zabo. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the Committee of Social Development embarked on an oversight in Nelson Mandela Metro, starting from the district office, where the department's challenges starts. Ingxaki zale department ziqala kwi-district office before ziphumele ngaphandle, Chair of Chairs. The findings of this oversight into Nelson Mandela Bay Department of Social Development are very alarming for the department that is in the forefront to address the social ills of the community. The department is supposed to be helping our people outside there, is struggling to deal with internal affairs. Critical vacancies are not filled within the department. And Chair of Chairs, isizathu songafilishwa kazo siya frustrate kakhulu xa besicacisa, because you cannot leave vacant posts because you want to save money for increment, because it was announced by national office that there will be no increment for departments. Departments must see by themselves what they are going to do. It's so frustrating, meaning that the departments, there will be no supervision in each and every department, because each and every vacancy that is there in the department is not going to be filled. People are acting with no compensation. It's so devastating, Honorable Chair of Chairs. At every level, the infrastructure delay to report crime against social workers, we see the department struggling to meet the needs of the people. This province is drowning, and the Department of Social Development is nowhere near offering lifeline. Social workers, who should be our front lines defenders against substance abuse, gender-based violence, and child neglect, are themselves under attack. For that, we call upon relevant department, community members to come together to fight this pandemic called crime. Meanwhile, the local offices operate far from communities they're supposed to serve, forcing residents to navigate a broken system while seeking help for the most pressing issues. If babesimamele kakuhle, Chair of Chairs, bebekhalaza abahlali bese-Nelson Mandela that i-offices zikude. That is true, and that has been the results of the offices ezingade zigqitywe ukurenovatwa for i-social workers ukuba zisondele ebantwini. Honorable Speaker, the Committee of Social Development also visited some centers, NPOs and NGOs funded by the Department of Social Development. These programs and centers are doing their level best to deliver the required services to our communities. We now plead with the Department of Social Development to increase the funding that they give to those departments, because the cost of living is very high. Honorable Speaker, Eastern Cape have the best treatment center for substance abuse here in Gqeberha. But the very same department that is supposed to be ensuring that the center is doing its level best to deliver the services is the same department that is trying to destroy the same center. Here in Gqeberha, in Malka Center, there is a vacant post, a very critical position of psychologist. The very same department is struggling to fill in that post. The very same department that is supposed to be ensuring that Lento sesinayo as Eastern Cape, siyigcina isebenza ngendlela right, but they are unable to fill those posts for the very same position of saving money, esingayaziyo uba isuka phi. Substance abuse, Honorable Chair of Chairs, sele ifana nepandemic eSouth Africa, sele ifana nepandemic ekufuneke sibambisene sonke singabantu baseMzantsi Afrika. Honorable Chair of Chairs, kwezi centers ezikhona around the province, it's only one that is being funded by the Department of Social Development. That is the only center that is situated in Gqeberha. What about other places? What about the OR Tambo, your Alfred Nzo? They have to travel to Gqeberha to come and assess the same center, the one that is not functioning well because there are some vacant posts. Honorable Chair of Chairs, kunzima kule department. Le department is struggling. As much as we have as centers that are dealing with substance abuse, when clients is
Honorable Bodoza. Honorable, can I call upon Honorable Buya? Your 3 minutes starts now.
Ndikubhalele incwadi ke kodwa ndiyathemba oba le ncwadi ayizobande kakhulu. Let me take this opportunity and greet you, Honorable Chairs and Honorable Acting Premier and all honorable members, all protocol observed. Honorable Chair of Chairs, let me quickly come to this point of, to the Honorable Minister. It feels very hurt in the elderly community that they are crying not to be recognized, when it comes to service delivery or whatsoever. So I am standing here to say it's time to rebuild, as you alluded in your other speech of the crime. This social development issue is not only a one-sided issue. This social development issue is also a problem for everyone that's residing within our communities. Now it's time for us to rebuild the communities, because we cannot allow the situation whereby the social workers that we need in our communities cannot go into our communities and do work because of the crime. And then yet we are also residing in the same communities. And there is no one that can say, I see you so and so doing this and this to a social worker. So which means social issues is also something that needs everyone within the society. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I would like to bring to your attention that the report of the Portfolio Committee that several institutions receive funding from the department that was visited in Nelson Mandela Bay. As much as these departments or institutions are giving funds, is there any procedural process that they are reporting on the funds that they are getting? What impact that those funds are doing in the communities? Is there any process whereby they are monitored properly to give a fruitful response based on the funding that they are getting? Those are the things that we need also to take into consideration. Also, we have noted that with a great concern, the report made mention of social workers being emerged of crime hotspots. That's what I just said, but there is no one that can come forward and say this particular person can be arrested in lead of our social workers. The circumstances of people in the metro today requires that we act together as collective. I think that needs not only the departments, as we are saying everything is based on the department. The community members also have the opportunity to come and work together as a team. For me, it's good to build
Honorable
a teamwork.
Buya, thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you. May I call upon the African National Congress? Honorable Keleku. Honorable Keleku, your 14 minutes starts now. Thank you.
Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Acting Premier, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of the Legislature, the Honorable Deputy Executive Mayor of the Nelson Mandela Metro and the councillors, the esteemed guest, and Aldi Mense van Nelson Mandela Metro, Ekhudiele Mense. Honorable Chair of Chairs, as we convene today, I must first reflect on the events of yesterday. We awoke to the distressing news of devastating floods that impacted many of our residents, necessitating our decision to adjourn the plenary sitting. In light of this unfortunate situation, I would like to commend my fellow members of the legislature for their exemplary leadership and swift response in attending to the urgent needs of our communities. Your dedication to rescuing and supporting the affected residents is a testament to our commitment to serve the people we represent. Emanating out of the assessment undertaken yesterday, we expect swift interventions from both the provincial government and the metropolitan municipality in alleviating the plight of the citizens of this area. This situation is indeed tragic, and our hearts goes out to everyone who has suffered loss of hardship during this crisis. We recognize the emotional and physical toll these floods have taken on our communities, and we want to assure you that we stand in solidarity with you during this challenging time. Honorable members, social transformation championed by the Department of Social Development is central to the African National Congress commitment to building a more inclusive, equitable, and just society. At the heart of this transformation lies the pressing need to address crime and eradicate gender-based violence, both of which are significant barriers to social cohesion and the safety of all citizens. Crime and gender-based violence have deeply entrenched effects on our social fabric, undermining well-being, impeding economic growth, and eroding public trust in institutions. A woman in South Africa, and especially in our province, faces the terrifying reality of domestic abuse, rape, and assault in her daily life. The government has taken significant steps to combat GBV with the implementation of the National Strategy Plan of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, as well as improvements in law enforcement measures. However, there is a pressing need to ensure that these measures reach every woman in the Eastern Cape, especially in the rural townships. Addressing these issues, Honorable Chair of Chairs, require a diverse approach, strengthening law enforcement, refining legal frameworks, supporting victims, and tackling the social and economic factors that perpetuate crime and violence. As we gather today in Gqeberha, a city afflicted by gang-related violence, it is crucial that we unite as a society, working hand in hand with law enforcement to combat this scourge that has infiltrated our communities. Victim empowerment programs must focus on improving the economic circumstances of women trapped in cycles of violence and abuse. In light of the persistent gender-based violence and femicide in the Eastern Cape communities, often referred to as the second pandemic, the department must urgently address these challenges with renewed robustness. Honorable Chair of Chairs, this urgency underscores why the African National Congress remains committed to investing in the people of South Africa, ensuring not just survival, but a better dignified livelihood. We trust that the appointment of Chief Justice Maya as the first female Chief Justice from September 2024 will go a long way towards ensuring that women have access to justice. This appointment is a testament to the ANC dedication to transformation and ensuring that South Africa's institutions reflect the diversity of its people. As the great Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela once said, as we set out building a new South Africa, one of the highest priorities must be our children. The vision of new society that guides us should already manifest in the steps we take to address the wrong done to youth and to prepare the future for their future. Our actions, policies, and institutions should be eloquent with care, respect, and love. These words spoken at the launch of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund on the 8th of May 1995 remain a guiding principle for us today. It is in this spirit that the African National Congress continues to stand proudly behind the policies of the Department of Social Development, committed to the protecting vulnerable and destitute children. The department must continue to monitor social distress interventions, making timely efforts to combat poverty. In the same vein, the department must increase funding for poverty alleviation efforts. Religious leaders and spiritual programs should be incorporated into government initiatives and tackle societal issues holistically. Honorable Chair of Chairs, another important intervention is that of the undertaking of an audit of public or government buildings as a start to be easily accessible to the people living with disability. This, Honorable Chair of Chairs, we must do. Honorable Chair of Chairs and members, we must also prioritize the enrollment of young men in a national cadet program aimed at fostering patriotism and instilling discipline. The Eastern Cape, Honorable Chair of Chairs, continues to grapple with significant social challenges, including underage drinking, which has become a provincial burden, especially among school-aged children. Substance abuse remains uncontrollable in the metro. The department must strengthen its partnership with stakeholders involved in the Provincial Substance Abuse Forum to develop comprehensive interventions to address these challenges. The department must also consider revisiting the grants points policy, exploring the restoration of mobile pay points for the benefit of the elderly in remote rural areas. In our quest for comprehensive social security, we are satisfied that the social relief of distress grant will serve as a basis of a foundation that the universal basic income grant, the unemployment across the board. President Ramaphosa has indicated that going forward, we are continuing and building on the 350 rands grant. During a recent oversight visit to Nelson Mandela Metro, the committee found that the Nelson Mandela District Office has a significant number of officials in acting positions or positions without appropriate allowances. The high crime rate makes it exceedingly difficult for social workers to perform their duties as they face their daily threats. There is an urgent need for interventions regarding the hospitalized of substance abuse and gender-based violence victims, compounded by a severe shortage of specialized social workers. Funding shortages for support centers sheltering abused, neglected, and destitute individuals must be addressed urgently. Office space remains a challenge for the staff. To this regard, the Department of Social Development should engage the Department of Public Works to resolve infrastructure availability issues. Addressing these challenges, Honorable Chair of Chairs, will require collaboration, especially in the integrated planning, a review of the DDM to improve intergovernmental relations and ensuring that the basic needs of the services of our citizens are fulfilled. In the same breath, the African National Congress recognizes the Department of Social Development's efforts in the Nelson Mandela, but acknowledges that much more remains to be done. Honorable Chair of Chairs, to extend our gratitude to the stakeholders of Nelson Mandela Metro for their valuable contribution during our pre-visits in the Nelson Mandela District. As the African National Congress Chair of Chairs and members, we fully support all the recommendations tabulated in the report, and we support the adoption of the pre-visit report as presented. Bayatanki.
Thank you very much. Honorable MSc, can you reply to the debate? Honorable MSc, you can reply to the debate. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Kamakusane nonke. Honorable Chair of Chairs, it is a privilege to stand before this House today to accept the oversight report on projects funded by the Department of Social Development in this Nelson Mandela Metro. However, Honorable Chair of Chairs, allow me to start with maybe clarifying few things from what my colleagues have been alluding on here. It is not that good to claim more victory based on baseless research. As the Department of Social Development, we've been encouraging our NPOs to find ways of fundraising on themselves. and it is so disheartening to find my colleagues on the left side claiming that the Department of Social Development is not doing well in terms of funding the NPOs, and we should increase more funding for the NPOs, whereas we've been taking this House through with regards to our ways and the processes of funding the NPOs. Honorable Chair of Chairs, this report is not merely a compilation of data. It is a testament of our shared commitment to uplifting our communities, and it encapsulates the hard work and dedication of our countless individuals striving for social change. As we gather here, we are also reminded that we are celebrating a monumental milestone, the 30 years of democracy in South Africa. For NGOs, these past 3 decades have brought significant changes and advancement. The establishment of a democratic framework has created an environment in which civil society organizations can thrive. NGOs have seen increased opportunities to engage in dialogue with the government, advocate for policy changes, and influence legislation that directly impacts the communities that they serve. With democracy came greater access to local and international funding, allowing many NGOs to secure grants and resources that were previously out of reach. As we reflect on the past 30 years and look towards to the future, our social development approach continues to focus on enhancing the capacity of NGOs to ensure they can continue to deliver on their essential work. Honorable Chair of Chairs, as part of our ongoing support to NGOs, I am proud to announce that the department has budgeted 403,686,110 rand for transfers to non-profit organizations this financial year. This substantial funding underscores our commitment to empowering civil society organizations to address social challenges effectively. The Nelson Mandela Metro specifically has been allocated a budget of 85 million rands, 575,978 rands for the funding of 185 organizations, making it one of the largest allocations that we allocate. This significant investment is not just a number. It represents our belief in the capacity of local NGOs to create meaningful change. By channeling these resources into the Nelson Mandela Metro, we are acknowledging the critical role that these organizations play in the communities, addressing pressing issues like poverty, childcare and protection, restorative, social welfare, and community development services. The department have introduced multi-year funding for NGOs, which represent a transformative approach to funding. Traditionally, many NGOs operate on annual subsidies, which can lead to instability and uncertainty. By shifting to a multi-year funding model, we aim to provide a more reliable there are established clear payment schedules for multi-year transfers so that NGOs can better manage their cash flow, reducing the financial strain that often accompanies delayed payments. Honorable Chair of Chairs, allow me to reflect on some of the findings and recommendations made in the report with regards to NPOs funded by social development. KwaNobuhle Outreach Center is a well-established service in KwaNobuhle, and it is recognized as a priority initiative by the Department of Social Development, having received It is with a heavy heart that I acknowledge an alarming rise in crime within our metro, a situation that has become increasingly dire. Our social workers, those brave individuals who serve on the front lines, often find themselves vulnerable to violence and robbery. They enter our neighborhoods not just as professionals, but as compassionate allies committed to making a difference in the lives of those who need it most. Today, I call upon all of us community members, law enforcement and government agencies to unite against this growing threat. We must work together to create safer environments for our social workers and all citizens. This is not just a matter of policy, it is a matter of humanity, Chair of Justice.
Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Thanks a lot, Chair of Justice.
Honorable members, I put the report. Any objection? Thank you very much. We will now move to debate the report of the Portfolio Committee on Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism. Honorable Kruger, Democratic Alliance. Your 9 minutes starts now. Thank you very much. I've started, Honorable Crook. Your 9 minutes started.
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chair, Acting Premier, Honourable Members. With Nelson Mandela Bay's municipality contributing over 40% to the province's GDP and approximately 2.6% of the country's GDP, it is clear that if we want to get our beloved province working, we need to get Nelson Mandela Bay working. To do this, we need to have a local government of builders and not breakers who hold the municipality and the province's economy ransom. To drive the level of economic development required to create and maintain sustainable jobs for the people of Motherwell, KwaNobuhle, Dispatch, Arcadia, Helenvale, Warmer, Summerstrand, and many more communities of this city, we need to leverage our provincial assets to be catalysts for change. The Kucha Economic Zone currently has 60 operational investors investing over 12 billion rand into making the SEZ sustainable, generating an annual revenue of 2.2 billion, creating over 10,000 jobs. Sustaining this vital economic zone by ensuring that government provides an inclusive environment for the private sector to thrive must be top of our agenda. Our oversight visits to the Kucha SEZ revealed that inefficiencies within government's own processes, both by National Treasury and by the Kucha Development Zone, have led to delays in the approval of the water security program. Is this the Eastern Cape we want, where our own government inefficiencies hamper critical water security projects? Research has shown that one of the main factors investors will assess before long-term investment is access to water. Ensuring the swift implementation of the water security program, which has been in the pipeline since 2022, has the potential to not only increase the number of investors within the Kucha SEZ, but also to alleviate the water security crisis faced by this municipality. Honourable Chair, the lack of an integrated investor plan in the Nelson Mandela Bay Logistics Park and the Special Economic Zone Advisory Board being vacant for the last 4 years, as well as the logistics park not being incorporated into the Kucha SEZ, has left the logistics park further from its strategic goal of being financially stable. In order for the logistics park to attract and retain long-term investors, there needs to be a clear commitment from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition and DDIT on a long-term plan for the park. The park currently has 15 investors and over 2,000 jobs. Most of these contracts are due to expire in the next 5 years. The department must provide clarity and long-term plans for the development of this park so that we can double the number of jobs created by the logistics park. This should be the Eastern Cape that we want. Sadly, government continues to dither. The Kucha One-Stop Investment Centre offers services that do not follow a sector-focused approach. They are not specific. They are not useful to the sectors operating in Kucha. The services offered by the one-stop shop must be specific to the green industries, energy services industries, resource-based industries, manufacturing and advanced manufacturing. Furthermore, government is failing the one-stop shop and investors that are coming through Kucha by not providing enough customs officials and not providing enough state services. These inefficiencies cost us money. These inefficiencies cost us jobs. Is this the Eastern Cape that we want? The Stellantis Group is the 4th largest automaker in the world, with 16 vehicle brands under their umbrella. They have agreed to invest 3 billion rand at the Kucha SEZ. It is said that this investment will create over 1,000 jobs, and it is forecast to increase local supplier participation across the value chain. This sounds good, Honourable Chair. However, the Stellantis investment that was negotiated and the way the deal was eventually structured are very different. This means there is now a misalignment of the project costs and the delivery timelines. Alarmingly, because the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition has made funding available for this delayed project, there is no funding from national government for any such mass economic development projects in the province. It gets worse, Honourable Chair, and I'm glad that the local government is present here. The project has been further hit by delays in obtaining regulatory approvals from the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality and other stakeholder approvals, such as the Department of Employment and Labour, negatively affecting this project. Is this the Eastern Cape we want? Honourable Chair, as highlighted in the Oversight Report, the poor state of our access roads, which lead to tourist destinations such as the Groendal Nature Reserve, a World Heritage Site, is just one of the many provincial roads in a poor state. Last week, Honourable Mokhotosi and I conducted oversight in parts of the provincial road network in Buffalo City. We saw firsthand how our road network has been neglected of much-needed maintenance to support the economic activity taking place. The floods that we have seen firsthand right here in Nelson Mandela Bay have highlighted the collapsing provincial road network right here in this metro, with roads such as the R75 that we drove to get to here being a death trap for many residents of this metro. Honourable Chair, the individual projects that we visited on our pre-visits all paint the same picture. Government gets involved with a project. Funding is made available. There are some delays. The project may or may not be completed. We close the file. We move on. What government doesn't do is look at projects in an integrated manner to ensure their long-term longevity, success, and ultimately job creation potential. We fund, for example, a plastic recycle manufacturing machine, one of the projects that we visited. It is a wonderful way to recycle plastic for useful industrial products, such as PVC piping for agriculture. But we don't think, why don't we as government procure products from this very manufacturer that we have assisted? Instead, we allow them to continue to operate at a 50% capacity and procure our products elsewhere for a much higher price. Honourable Acting Premier, if we want more of the same for the economy of this metro and this province, then let us continue with more of the same spoeg and plak. And I will translate, lick and stick. If we want more of the same, let's continue with more of the same. But if we really want to reignite the economy of this metro and this province, aisafani. We need the builders in Nelson Mandela Bay and the builders in our province to work together. We do not need to reconfigure a coalition of breakers in Nelson Mandela Bay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kruger. Honourable Kotoi. Sorry, Honourable. Just hold on, Honourable Kotoi. Oh, okay. Thanks very much. Honourable Koto, your 5 minutes starts now.
Enkosi Honourable Sihlalo, mandibulise kumalungu wendlu yowiso-mthetho, kuye wonke umuntu olapha, kubantwana bethongo, ndithi kubo camakho. The challenge of water shortage is a serious matter that deserves serious attention. Much as the process of desalination of seawater is one way of addressing that challenge, and it has its own pros and cons. One of the challenges around desalination plants relates to their impact on the environment. Kwi-interview ebiyenziwe nge-24 June 2024, Professor Yanet Cherry, who is a sustainable development researcher and activist, raised concerns that one of the impacts of desalination process is that brine, which concerns that one of the impact of desalination process is that brine, which is an unavoidable product of seawater. Desalination and other chemicals, minerals would be released back into sea. This would in turn kill marine organisms and marine population. Desalination plants tend to produce waste and toxic chemicals that are harmful to the environment. The process can also raise salt levels in seawater, thereby harming fish. This would pose a massive challenge for the fishing community. These concerns being considered in the process. This is also because important because the right to a clean and healthy environment is a fundamental human right. Honorable Chair of Chairs, one of the basic obligations of the advisory board is to provide current knowledge, critical thinking, feedback and analysis to increase the confidence of the people responsible for decision-making in the company or business entities. For this reason, the fact that there has been no SEZ advisory board for a period of 4 years, it is a serious cause for concern because it simply means that the SEZ had been simply running on a wing and a prayer without any strategic focus and critical analysis. Given the importance of special economic zones, are growth engines that are vital for the government objectives and industrialization, regional development and employment creation. Without an advisory board in place, these objectives may not be fully realized. It is for this reason that the issue of advisory board must be treated as a matter of exigence. The preamble of the Constitution clearly provides that the injustices of the past must be recognized. One of the injustices of the past was exclusion of blacks from economic mainstream and some strategic sectors. It is therefore a matter of grave concern that 30 years into democracy, there are some sectors, economic sectors like engineering sector that are not open to black-owned firms. Sivile ke nabantu apha bethetha ngela xesha bebekhupha imibuzo yabo. The fact that companies are able to secure big contracts with big industry players without being compliant with the procurement regulations is a serious indictment. It is also a shame that companies are able to get away with murder by simply having firms train people from disadvantaged backgrounds and then being certified as compliant with the broad-based black economic empowerment. This sad state of affairs requires that the monitoring systems in terms of being compliant with the procurement regulations would ensure that black-owned firms are given space to compete in the sector. Also, there must be assistance that is provided kubantu abafana nohloza engineering ababesiyamba kubo. Iyabonakala into kokuba, Honorable Chair of Chairs, there is no monitoring by the department. Kunikezwa nje imali engalandelelwa into kokuba yenza ntoni na, iziphumo zayo zithini na, because kwaba bantu bafumana this funding complaining. How is this government going to recognize abantu with disabilities? Akunzima ukujonga abantu abamnyama. Men Cup say date for referendum no. 2026 on the train. EFF show last hope. As we are fighting for economic freedom as the
Honorable
EFF.
Kote.
We will fight for the economic
Honorable Kote.
emancipation in
Honorable
our
Kote.
lifetime.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Honorable Nkosha, United Democratic Movement. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Ngosi, Honorable Chair of Chairs, greetings to the acting Premier, the Chief Whip, the honorable members, and everyone present. Thank you. Chair of Chairs, there are a number of lessons that we have learned during the project visits at Gabech. We have appreciated the support that the department is providing in people's development on creating job opportunities, even if they are on a small scale. The automotive industry showed the potential to grow and build a better environment that needs government support. Companies that we visited, we find that they have got potential to grow, and there are other companies where they operate and they have got a problem of the space to expand the business and limitation on the funds. The marketing strategy was also raised as a problem, in particular for small companies, because they are denied the opportunities to be involved in strategic sessions for their products to be marketable by those that are well established. The observation is that whilst the ECDC is the agent of development, more funds are reserved by the ECDC as against the facilitation task of development for small companies. Again, if we are serious about addressing poverty and creation of jobs, more funds must be allocated on the economic development to improve economic development and address the social ills. The development of our own people is appreciated, and strengthening assets which allows industries to grow from within rather than relying from the outside world, which could also make an opportunity on the growth of our economy. That will happen only when we are able to develop effective and organizing talent and equip the people with skills in order to sustain development. Sustainable development will only be achievable through the integration and acknowledgement of economic, environmental, and social concerns throughout the decision-making process. Late appointments and delays on approvals affects the performance of the projects, not to meet their deadlines. We must improve on project management in order to meet the strategic objectives of our department. Spending patterns should be monitored to avoid the spending of the funds and also
Honorable
to take
Mkosha.
into account
Honorable
that we are
Mkosha.
behind the people's developmental needs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Laramsa, PA, your 3 minutes starts now.
Greetings, Honorable COC, Honorable Acting Premier, esteemed colleagues and members of the community once again. Today we address a pressing issue facing our city, the underfunding of the Economic Development and Tourism Directorate. Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, with its rich cultural heritage, stunning landscapes and untapped economic potential, stands at a crucial crossroads. We must rise to the occasion to revitalize our tourism and economic sectors, and the Metro a beacon of opportunity and growth. It is no secret that tourism is a driving force for job creation and economic development, and yet our city continues to face challenges in realizing its full potential in this arena. However, recent initiatives such as the city's R1 million investment in the Bafana Bafana match show that the city is willing to take bold steps to boost tourism. This is a positive sign, but much more needs to be done. For this, we must look towards a multi-departmental approach to empower the Economic Development and Tourism Directorate. Collaboration with departments such as the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism, along with other stakeholders, is not just an option but a necessity. The establishment of a one-stop shop for investment facilitation will ease the way for business growth. And by focusing on township tourism and tourism product development, we can ensure that the benefits of tourism reach all communities. We are, however, limited by the constraints of entities like the Kucha Development Corporation under the PFMA. These legal and administrative barriers must be re-examined and, where necessary, restructured to ensure that they can support the city in fully unlocking its economic and tourism potential. Unemployment among our youth is at a crucial and critical level, and we cannot afford to delay action any longer. If we stimulate the economy and tourism sector strategically, we can open up new opportunities for youth employment and economic participation. The time to act is now. It is clear that Nelson Mandela Bay Metro stands on the cusp of significant growth. Despite the challenges we face, underfunding, structural barriers, and youth unemployment, we are not without hope. The investments we make today in our economic development and tourism sectors will pay dividends tomorrow. The recent steps taken, as previously mentioned, the investment in tourism through the Bafana match, show that progress is possible, but we must be bold and strategic. The one-stop shop for investment and facilitation, a focus on township tourism, and the restructuring of Kucha Development Corporation are not just ideas. They are solutions that will help us realize the full potential of our city. As we look at cities around the world that have thrived by investing in tourism and economic development, we are reminded that NMB has the same potential. Let us draw inspiration from those cities who have had similar challenges and emerged stronger. If we work together as a collective, there is no doubt that Nelson Mandela Bay can become a shining example of economic growth, job creation, and tourism excellence in South Africa. In closing, Honourable COC, I urge all stakeholders, departments, businesses, and the community to unite in our shared vision. Let us commit ourselves to building a future where the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro is not only one of the best metropolitans in the country, but also a city of opportunity and prosperity for all its residents. I thank you. Hari Baiza, salute.
Thank you very much. Can I call upon MKP? Honorable Ngcobo. Your 3 minutes starts now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Chair of Chairs and honorable members, the economy is in the hands of the majority of the poor people are excluded in the economic activities. And according to this report, you'll find that few people are beneficiary, meaning that there are a lot of people who are outside or excluded in the economy activities. The delay, Mr. Honorable Chair, of approval is a stumbling block. Some of businesses will start and block or die because of the delays in approval. Some of the delays will end up in a sour relationship between workers and the business. Delay in approval is a delay in economic to be handed over to the black, especially black women and the youth. So if we delay approvals, we delay the economic control by the youth and the women. Land is a big issue, Honorable Chair, and should be urgently provided for economic activities. Policies that cause delays in approval should be revisited. A well-coordinated communication strategy on economic opportunities should be developed from the grassroots level or what. These opportunities are for everyone, Honorable Chairperson, not only the chosen few. Honorable Chair, township economy activities should be encouraged and be supported. If foreigners are able to run businesses in our township, that is our space, surely our people can do better than them. All what is needed is support and coaching. All what is needed is to officially hand over of township economic activities to the rightful owners. And the rightful owners are the community of that township. Our youth are beggars to foreigners in their own space and end up using drugs. Sad things, some of these foreigners do not even have legal documents. So let us help our community to take what belongs to it, meaning that the township economy belongs to the people who live there. Therefore, we must support, we must coach, we must encourage the township economy so that people can live free
Thank you very
and
much.
enjoy the
Honorable
economy
Ngcobo.
in their lifetime. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Pongo, your 14 minutes. Your 14 minutes starts now, 1-4.
Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs. Good afternoon to you, Acting Premier, Honorable Mvoko, the members of the Executive Council, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, the members of the Provincial Legislature, distinguished guests, and all those following these proceedings across the media platforms. Molweni ingakumbi abantu balapha eGqeberha. Honorable Chair of Chairs, allow me to begin by expressing our deepest condolences to the families of our fallen struggle stalwart, Comrade Tito Mboweni, Pravin Gordon, and Comrade Membathisi Mdladlana, who played vital roles in the fight against apartheid and the realization of freedom we enjoy today. We also extend heartfelt condolences to the families affected by a tragic wave of mass killings. We urge our religious leaders to pray for peace in our province and for criminals to be held accountable. Honorable Ngata, as baso uqalile ukumane ubabamba abanye belala, there is no room for lawless in our communities. Honorable Chair of Chairs, on climate and disaster response. As the NC, we are deeply concerned by the recent extreme weather events, particularly the disaster in Nelson Mandela Bay, which appropriately called the House to adjourn yesterday. We call on environmental authorities to develop robust strategies to combat climate change and address challenges such as poor drainage system and environmental neglect. This recent disaster is not isolated. Poor special planning during apartheid disproportionately affected black communities, and we are still seeing the consequences today. Notable areas such as Summerstrand and Blue Water Bay remain largely unaffected, while our townships bear the brunt. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the unemployment crisis in South Africa is severe, with the national rate at 32.9% and the provincial rate in the Eastern Cape at a troubling 42.4%. As the NC, we recognize the importance of addressing these challenges head-on. We commend the Kucha Development Corporation for its contribution to economic development and job creation. Kucha currently holds 60 operational investors with a total investment value of 12.3 billion, generating revenue of 2.87 billion and providing over 10,000 jobs. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I wish to reflect on the words of President Cyril Nelson Mandela, who said, and I quote, "Let there be justice for all, let there be peace for all, let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all." These words resonate profoundly, especially in the light of the ongoing conflict in Palestine. As the NC, we believe that true freedom is incomplete while people anywhere remain oppressed. Geopolitical conflicts have direct economic consequences, particularly for the working class, who are most vulnerable. To promote global economic stability, these wars must come to an end. Honorable Chair of Chairs, we are encouraged by the resilience of the manufacturing sector, particularly the automotive industry, which has sustained our provincial economy. We urge Eastern Cape government to accelerate the adoption of policies for electric vehicle production to maintain our competitive edge. This shift is essential for the survival of the sector, with Nelson Mandela Bay leading the way. On the policy commitment, Honorable Chair of Chairs, the ANC as 55 National Conference reaffirmed our commitment to policies aimed at solving the challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. As the ruling party, we remain steadfast in our mandate to build a better life for all, guided by the will of the people. Unlike opposition parties that lack clear economic policies to turn the situation around, the ANC offers tested solutions for economic reconstruction. The Kucha Special Economic Zone exemplifies our approach, with focus sectors including automotive, business process outsourcing, chemicals, logistics, and agro-processing. Kucha is a beacon of progress. The Premier's recent visit to China highlights our efforts to attract foreign investment, which will translate into tangible benefits for our people. Creating a conducive business environment, Honorable Chair of Chairs, the ANC-led government is committed to creating an environmental conducive to investment. The establishment of Nelson Mandela Bay Logistic Park demonstrates our strategic intent to develop the automotive industry and expand South Africa's footprint in global markets. However, we are concerned that the logistic park has not yet been incorporated into the SEZ, and we urge this integration to unlock further economic potential. We welcome the establishment of Kucha One-Stop Shop, which simplifies business processes and reduces bureaucratic red tape. This initiative will improve the ease of doing business, attract investors, and generate much-needed jobs. Honorable Chair of Chairs, we are pleased with the government's effort to support small, medium, and micro enterprise. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's take. Listen, ladies.
Thank you.
We are pleased with the, Chair of Chairs. We are pleased with the government's effort to support small, medium, and micro enterprise, especially black-owned companies like Uhloza Engineering. The problem with Uhloza is that if funding ayikho enough for lamsebenzi awenzayo, and as ANC-led government, we are pleased that abantu abafana naye besenza that kind of umsebenzi. This reflects our commitment to addressing historical inequalities and fulfilling the promises outlined in our manifesto. Supporting black enterprise is key to advancing economic transformation and achieving the second phase of our transition to a national democratic society. Honorable Chair of Chairs, we welcome the Kucha Budget Facility for Infrastructure program, which supports national priority infrastructure projects. The BFI fund will be instrumental in addressing water challenges within Nelson Mandela Bay through the Kucha SEZ Water Security Program. We urge the provincial government to package catalyst projects and lobby National Treasury to allocate much-needed funds through BFI, as very few projects in the Eastern Cape are allocated funds through this initiative. We are also excited about the environmental authorization for a land-based aquaculture development zone within Kucha. The 440-hectare site allocated to aquaculture farming is a step forward sustainable economic development. We call on the government to ensure that black entrepreneurs are empowered to participate meaningfully in this sector. In conclusion, Chair of Chairs, Nelson Mandela Bay plays a critical role in the economic growth of our province. It is our duty as the ANC to ensure that this potential is fully realized. The Stellantis Group's investment as the fourth largest automaker globally is a testament to our progress. The ANC remains committed to advancing policies that promote growth, eradicate unemployment, poverty, and inequality, and create a developmental state capable of leading transformative economic change. We are proud of the work being done by the Economic Development Portfolio Committee and the provincial government in this regard. Honorable Chair of Chairs, in these words of Amir Bal, I quote, always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas, but to win the material benefits, to live better and in peace. Our goal remains clear: to ensure that economic development translates into meaningful improvement in the lives of the people of this province. The ANC accepts the reports presented today and reaffirms its commitment to creating a better life for all. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ponyo. Honorable MSc, reply to the debate. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Good afternoon to you, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Acting Premier, and the Executive Council, members of the Executive Council, the Honorable Chief Whip, and the Deputy Chair of Chairs, and the Honorable members of this august House. Honorable Chair of Chairs, one of the 8 Batupili principles is the principles of value for money. This principle states that public services should be provided economically and sufficiently in order to give citizens the best possible value for money. The Portfolio Committee, as indicated in their report once again, has continued to diligently play their oversight role in the operations of the department and its entities to ensure that there is value for money. The report tabled today is a reflection of what government continues to provide to the large numbers of the communities of this province, with specific reference to Nelson Mandela area in this instance. The report tabled here assists the DDIT group to understand our strength and weaknesses, including shortfalls in the implementation of our projects. In the words of Melissa Stegenas, open quotes, review is essential to evaluation, which is essential to progress, close quote. We appreciate that in addition to our lens that we have been viewing our work, the committee has offered their lens so that we have a better, objective view on how best to serve and utilize resources. Once again, we appreciate the time and effort taken by the committee to visit these projects. We undertake to make use of the recommendations in respect of Treasury, the aquaculture projects, and those directed to certain entities within the department. We acknowledge that there are challenges to address, and we are taking steps to rectify some of the issues raised. Regent Jani once indicated that, open quotes, assessment precedes improvement, close quote. Our department is dedicated on improving from what is currently in existence and ensuring serving the people and the public and delivering on our mandate. Coming also, Chair, to debate that was taking place here from all the opposition parties, starting by Honorable Kruger, who was talking here about coalitions, about the way how Nelson Mandela is being run, forgetting that they were once in a coalition and they were leading in the coalition in this municipality, and nothing better was done during that time. So they cannot speak as if it's for the first time that there is coalition in Nelson Mandela. You must go and contest elections and win convincingly in order to lead. And also, investors did not come to the Eastern Cape on their own. We did not pray for investors. We've put an effort as government to make sure that investors come to the Eastern Cape. Masiya kuthetha ngathi sikhwele yagwini apha. And also, we speak as if
we do not know what are the priorities of the 7th administration. As we know that the first priority is that putting the people of the Eastern Cape to work. And that is priority number 1. And priority number 2 is building our industries for an inclusive economy. And here they were also talking priority number 4, investing in our people. That means we are going to focus on skilling young people so that they are able to have the skills that are needed by the market, have the skills for the future, as we know that nothing is static. So izinto ziya evolve. Bakhwele agwina bathethwayo bebesuka apha lo wokuqala kanye ukhwele ngathi uthethe ebuhleni ukhwele agwina. Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. We are accepting the report and also we will respond within 30 days via thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I put the report. Any objection? No, thank you very much. Before I move, honorable members, order. Before I move to the next debate, Honorable Fitlani, I'm told that the explanation by Honorable Kruger, it was you have accepted it. Thank you very much, Honorable Fitlani. May I then call upon the debate on the Portfolio Committee on Health, Honorable Kaule, Democratic Alliance. Your 9 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair of Chairs, Honourable Acting Premier, Honourable Members of the House, officials and guests, good evening. Honourable Chair of Chair, healthcare services in our province have regressed to such a degree that new medico-legal claims will be coming at the department like a high-speed freight train. Coupled with this, the year-on-year increase in accruals and payables, which were 7.4 billion at the end of March, can be extrapolated to an eye-popping 9.5 billion rand at the end of this financial year, almost 1/3 of the entire health budget. This will destroy even the 7-year plan to pay off creditors. We've heard much about the strategies to reduce cost drivers, but some are sadly flawed. A case in point, the department wants SCOPA to condone unauthorised expenditure to the tune of 2 billion, which Treasury is then expected to fund. The money is spent. You can't re-spend spent money. Honourable Chair of Chairs, about Nelson Mandela Bay District. Firstly, human resources. HOD talks about service delivery optimisation. To optimise service delivery at primary healthcare facility, you need enough nurses and administrators. There is not one clinic in this district that has a full complement of staff. Of the 9 CHCs in the district, only 2 have casualty. Most cannot operate a 24-hour service because they are too short-staffed. Is this what we want for Nelson Mandela Bay? In stark contrast, however, we have provincial and district HR directorates that allegedly dole out jobs to wives, girlfriends and family members. They are allegedly employed on salary levels that they have neither the qualifications nor the experience for. A further indictment on the PHO is the manner in which they have avoided dealing with the Osmond human resources saga. For 3 years, nurses have being paid to do nothing while our clinics are crying for more nurses. This is a human resource management failure and our citizens deserve better. If this department wants to cut costs, start with the millionaire managers in the district offices and especially in PHO. Then overhaul the corrupt and cadre-riddled Human Resource Directorate. Honourable Chair of Chairs, if Honourable Premier is serious also about addressing sexual harassment in our departments, start with the alleged carpet interviews in the Health Department. Let's move to infrastructure. The state of the nurses' homes at both Livingston and Provincial, the empty buildings at the back of Dora and Genza, and the Osmond facility is quite disgusting. All this wasted infrastructure
while doctors and nurses are begging for separate facilities to cater for the ever-growing mental health pandemic because 72-hour observation units have failed. The excuse is that there's no budget for maintenance. Let me tell you why. Elizabeth Donkin Hospital has a corridor that connects a few buildings. This corridor needs floors, a new ceiling, a paint job, replacement of fascia boards, and replacement of steel windows with aluminium windows. There are 9 rooms that need new windows and some ablutions that need walls lowered for observation purposes. The tender for this job is valued at 28 million rand. Documents were provided to try and justify the price. There is no way that you can justify 28 million for a 5 million rand job. No wonder there's no money for maintenance. What about Port Alfred Hospital, whose roof is collapsing, or Middelburg Clinic, where the wall is about to fall over? And who will account when they do? We are all aware of the age-old rampant corruption in supply chain and tender processes in health infrastructure. Some have allegedly benefited very handsomely from it, but disappear quickly to other departments when the heat is on. The President will be well advised to expand the SIU investigation to start from 2014. Dan sal die poppe dans. Security. Clinics are vulnerable to attacks because they have cell phones, laptops, and drugs. There are several security companies protecting these facilities, but the guards are not trained or equipped to deal with armed criminals, so their services are effectively wasteful expenditure. Interestingly, different companies are often contracted to provide services to the same facilities, but they're allegedly owned by the same people who get 2 contracts but only provide 1 service. Double dipping is a criminal offence, as far as I recall. There are many private companies in Nelson Mandela Bay that could assist with armed security services for a fraction of the price that we are paying for inferior services. Let us collaborate with SAPS, the private sector and civil society to keep our nurses safe. Fourth, critical shortages of ambulances, equipment and space. How can 15 ambulances in the entire district possibly optimize service delivery? Clinics have no water tanks, generators or non-negotiable vitals. They are non-compliant and patient care is compromised. Waiting rooms are so small that patients wait outside. Honourable Kapa, through you, Chair of Chairs, let us source containers through the Ports Authority and involve starter SMMEs to upcycle them into waiting rooms and storerooms for our clinics. Jobs and space will both be created. Lastly, finances. In order to relieve pressure from our tertiary institutions, we have to strengthen primary health care. So why have budgets for tertiary institutions been increased substantially, but primary health care's budget has been slashed? This is exactly the opposite of what should happen. The consequence of this decision will overload tertiary hospitals even more and leave our clinics even less equipped to offer quality primary health care services. Our clinics are crucial and deserve strengthening with adequate budget. The decision to potentially subsidize compensation of employees with goods and services budget is mind-boggling. This is a slippery slope from which the department will not recover. Rather halt the corruption in commuted overtime and direct savings made there to pay for your COE. Without goods and services budget, our clinical workforce will have no means to provide health care at all. Is this what we want for our province? Lastly, Honourable Chair of Chairs, I commend organised labour for their constructive inputs. They asked head office for 2 things: that they provide meaningful support and ethical leadership. The disconnect between head office and the districts and the arrogant hands-off management style of some who place blame at district level when things go awry must change. This attitude is ill-suited to public servants. I'm sure the HOD is here, so she will take note of that, or not. Honourable Chair of Chairs, our healthcare services are inadequate due largely to desperate staff shortages as a result of exorbitant medico-legal claims. and the department should be placed under administration in terms of Section 100 of the Constitution until such time that healthcare services are adequate again. We need all the help we can get. It's either that or a continued increase in medico-legal claims and special investigations unit investigations into the department, which potentially bankrupt our entire province. Take your pick. The DA supports an excellent report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kaule. Honorable Aloni, your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Protocol was observed. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I was looking at the pool of people who wanted to interact with the report of this department. And to me, it shows me that, or it means that the issue of health is affecting everyone in a negative way. Oversight in this province has always been a mere formality, Chair of Chairs, nothing more than a performance to pacify those who still have faith in this government. Year in and year out, the hopes of our people are raised only to be dashed after government and parliamentary delegations come with great fanfare, only minimal action to be affected. In places where the ANC institutions and officials are tipped off beforehand to clean up their mess, or worse, the exercise is reduced to a talk shop where the cries of the people are weaponized to discredit political opponents instead of addressing the root problems. When we look at the health facilities in Nelson Mandela Bay, today it is no different from what is written about health facilities in various parts of the Eastern Cape, including the same ones visited during the oversight reports written 5, 10, even 15 years ago. Year after year, we hear the same grievances: dilapidated infrastructure, under-resourced hospitals, and an unresponsible health department. Umntu axolele ukuthi agulele ibhokisi emnyama kunokuphathwa ngamagosa elisebe. Meaningful changes have been resolved, yet no real action has been taken. In 2020, during the peak of COVID-19, we saw how unprepared our province was. Our nurses and doctors put their lives on their line at the front line of crumbling health system, instead of equipping them with PPE and safe working conditions. Millions were squandered on the scooters. A project that was nothing but a disaster. And what happened to the MEC responsible for this failure? She served her term as an MPL, earning fat check and a lucrative pension. Voters are suffering during an era of a better life for all. Some of you may not know the relevance of me mentioning this. Actions such as this, met with almost no consequences, have created a nonchalant culture even among administrations. This is why HODs can have their audacity to not show up when convened by the members of the legislature, or we hear reports of senior administrators who have been on leave for periods of over a year. What you find is something similar to a Hollywood movie set where everyone is acting on some of other roles. The ruling party must take full responsibility for the consequences of lawlessness. We will not forgive the blatant disregard for the lives of our healthcare workers and the people that they serve. What was witnessed during this oversight visit is nothing short of disgraceful. None of the matters raised were shocking, have become a norm. Health facilities in Nelson Mandela Bay and across the province are in shambles. I clinic yase Joe Slovo crime rate is so high that the clinic was forced to shut down, Honorable Ngata. And the community must suffer secondary trauma. First, from being critically ill, and second, from their cries falling off deaf ears.
No, just hold on, Honorable.
Cela undikhusele, Chairperson.
Honorable Aloni. Honorable Aloni, your time is saved. Honorable members, don't drown the speaker, please.
We will monitor every single
Honorable
resolution.
Aloni.
Thank you, Chair.
Just hold on. Honorable members, don't drown the speaker. Just hold on, Honorable Aloni. Honorable Sazu.
Honorable,
Yes, Honorable Sazu.
I'm rising in terms of Rule 85
Yes.
and also rules of debate, that the honorable member cannot address a member not having sought your permission. Secondly, the member cannot come here and raise matters that are not found in any of the annual reports, insofar as the issue of the alleged scooters is concerned. It's a lie.
Thank you very much. Honorable Aloni, you are left with 30 seconds. Yes, you are left with 30 seconds.
Okay. What was witnessed during the oversight visit is nothing short of disgraceful. None of the matters raised were shocking. We will monitor every single resolution in this report, and we will ensure that interventions are made to turn this disaster around for the people of Nelson Mandela Metro. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Aloni. Honorable Nkocho, your 3 minutes starts now. No?
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Protocol observed. As UTM, we welcome the report of the committee. The department must look to the issue of the security personnel very seriously so that we are able to attend to the matter of crime, given the fact that the criminals are armed. Therefore, we are saying the security that are operating there must also be armed. Reference is made to this Slovo clinic that happened to be closed because of safety issues. Random visits by SAPS can yield good results in protecting communities. UDM is requesting that IGR forums must be strengthened and senior officials must attend such meetings for effectiveness and implementation process. The high vacancy rate in the department must be attended, both clinically and non-clinically, in particular when you are taking into account the rate of unemployment. The department must attend the Motherwell Community Health Center and fix leakages, ensure the responsiveness of the infrastructure call center. The lack of the backup on generators compromises the standard of the service to our communities. Honorable MEC, it has also come into our attention that there is an ongoing trend where foreign nationals build factories and produce chips, drinks, food, and other products that are sold to our communities. These products result in death of our people after used. And it is on those bases that we request the department to increase the numbers of health inspectors in order to safeguard people's lives and avoid selling such dangerous products. We note the strides that the department is doing to change the situation and appreciate that. But more is needed to make Eastern Cape a healthy place of stay. The dilapidated infrastructure in our hospitals is also an area of concern that needs to be attended.
Honorable Mqosho, honorable members, I can't be hearing you while I'm here. Honestly speaking, this is just 3 minutes, and we're affecting his time. Continue on.
Ya, kamba bensajongile, ndiyabulela, Honorable Chair of Chairs. It was also observed that some hospitals have no water, sewage system and that makes the health of the patients very worse with no safe environment, which sometimes leads to their death. Management of funds is also noted as a challenge, informed by the fact that some hospitals, you find them
Honorable
with
Mqosho.
no equipment,
Honorable Mqosho.
no facilities.
Honorable Mqosho, your time is off. Thank you very much. Your 3 minutes starts now, Honorable.
Greetings to the Honorable COC and Honorable Acting Premier, all protocols observed. Our health system is the foundation upon which we build hope and healing. But when that foundation is strained, it is our responsibility to raise our voices, seek solutions, and to ensure that the rights of our communities are upheld. The Osmond TB Hospital, a facility closed since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite its closure, 10 government-employed staff members remain, refusing relocation to other healthcare facilities where their skills are much needed. We cannot ignore the issue of non-functional telephone lines in several hospitals across the province, a matter which directly violates our basic human rights to access immediate healthcare services. When communication breaks down, so does the efficiency and responsiveness of care. This issue demands urgent resolution. Let us also reflect on the personal experiences of individuals like Jessica Claassen, who has faced a string of complications since January due to gallbladder issues. Her journey through the healthcare system from Utenhage Provincial Hospital to Livingston Hospital, where she was transferred without her family's knowledge, just discharged with an open wound, and told to return to work just 5 days later, reflects a breakdown in patient care and communication. Jessica, like many others, deserves dignity in her treatment, and to date, she still awaits a proper follow-up. Additionally, the experience of a community member admitted as a psychiatric patient earlier this year highlights the inconsistencies in care. Told to expect a 72-hour observation period, they were left in limbo for 5 days before the process even began. Even more distressing, patients and their families were locked out of the hospital by security with little to no empathy shown by hospital staff. These are not isolated incidents, but symptoms of the system in need of improvement. Currently, there are only 15 ambulances working across the metro with a population of just under 1.3 million people. Some of these vehicles are in repairs but cannot be released due to alleged non-payment by the department. This can never be accepted as a norm. As we discuss these issues today, let us remain solution-driven, for every problem we face is an opportunity to rebuild. We must optimize staff utilization, improve hospital communication lines, address discharge practices, ensure proper care for psychiatric patients, repair broken ambulance vehicles, or source funding to buy additional ones. These are only a few steps we must take if we are to ensure that patients' care remains our top priority. Our forefathers fought for freedom and basic rights. We must ensure that the struggles and sacrifices they have made are not in vain, and that every South African enjoys the healthcare rights enshrined in our Constitution. A Roman poet, Virgil, once wrote, "The greatest wealth is health." In conclusion, the Patriotic Alliance accepts the report. Let us work together. We are confident that under the leadership of our capable female MEC of Health, we can work towards a healthcare system that reflects the respect and efficiency that every patient deserves. I thank you. Ons baie Zani.
Thank you very much. Honorable May. Out. Honorable Pesa. Your 14 minutes starts now. Honorable Pesa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Allow me to say greetings to all the protocols that have already been established here today. First and foremost, allow me to put up front that there is no political organization that has championed the national struggle other than the ANC. ANC is coming back in 2026. You will see ANC. I'm standing here on behalf of the African National Congress. inqwelo yamasondo-sondo, kuthiwa black, green and gold. Unyawo zabezolo, ugqala balibanzi. Awunawufita kwi-ANC noba uyathanda. We are gathered here today on the feet of the giants, true patriots, true stalwarts of this region, such as Governor Mbeki, Raymond Mhlaba, Zola Nqini, Lillian Diedrichs, Florence Matomela, Ivy Gcina, and then young Spio Mtimkulu, who all fought for betterment of South Africa and her people. But it was the pioneer in healthcare, such as Dora Nginza, the trailblazer nurse, who through their daily work put health to higher levels. Nelson Mandela Metro Municipality has been on public domain for wrong reason when its citizens are at war with themselves through various acts of violent crimes. High levels of extortion, among other violent crime incident, has become the norm in this metro municipality. This has tended to overshadow progress on the development such as rapid growth in manufacturing industries, automotive sector, commercial retail, and others. It has overshadowed excellent sports culture, which produced, among others, Sia Collis, a captain of South African rugby team. The city also prides itself of the then Nomsebenzi Totobe, woman rugby player and a captain of national team, who was also a model. It is actually amazing. I just forgotten to touch base, a critical issue here. Somebody who doesn't belong to this committee of the Department of Health athethe nge-issue yezikuta. Sayivala kudala le chapter yezikuta. Zange kwathengwa zikuta kwelizwe. Zange sathenga zikuta. Crime has adversely affected health sector, where even other facilities struggle to operate freely and provide service delivery for fear of their lives. It has partially affected emergency medical services, which have been targeted by criminals. This situation is unacceptable, and it must be tackled by all sections of population, with authorities in front. On the same breath, the huge delays and failure of EMS when needed by our people cannot be justified. However, dedication of staff to their work in our facilities under trying circumstances deserves to be commended. It is against this short background that we pay tribute to some hundreds of health workers who paid supreme sacrifice while on line of duty, especially when there was a threat of total collapse of healthcare system in South Africa during COVID-19. Huge shortage of clinical and non-clinical staff continues to be a challenge across the province. We are making a call on the health department to do all in its power, including finding ways of making presentations to provincial treasurer to resolve resourcing of the department. Collapse of healthcare services is not an option. As such, we dare not to fail our communities to give them what is guaranteed in our constitution. African National Congress is very disturbed by increasing incidents of illnesses of children who are exposed to fake food products that are often sold while they are expired. Children by nature have weak immune system. Hence, they are easily hit by a compromised foodstuffs. Efforts by police and other authorities to clamp down shady factories, spaza shops, who are allegedly the suppliers of these products, they are highly commendable and needs intensity around this metro. What is actually important in this metro, if we wanted to address challenges, is unity. Unity, no factions, unity. Veil in this part of the world. On the other hand, illegal dumping sites across the metro is a sign of poor performance of municipality. Air pollution from the fumes of dumped refuse do cause skin rash to the children and children who stay nearby. These cases cause unnecessary burden of disease to health, and they need to be halted. October is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As such, we put a special focus on this area of disease. As a public representatives, we should be wearing clothing items or symbols in support of those who live with cancer as a way of help in raising the matter to the public. Honorable Chair, we call on the police services working with Nelson Mandela Metro Municipality to put more efforts on forensic pathology. It is imaginable that there could be 120 unclaimed paupers, as if there is war or conflict in this city. Serious intervention must be done with families, and communities are coming forward to claim their own deceased people. This situation cannot be left to government alone, as government does not breed. ANC is giving this report an unwavering support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I call upon the MEC to reply to the debate? Your 10 minutes starts now, Honorable MEC.
Chair of Chairs,
We've also employed 231 security guards in our facilities. We are also setting aside 11 million for security technologies for our facilities. We will definitely make sure that we strike the balance between employing the security personnel and also having a contract with the private companies. We are not going to divert to the contract because we do not know the owners of those private companies. Therefore, we must continue to strike the balance between the two. We are not going to be coerced to focus on having private companies. We're not going to be coerced to that. We are also working with the SAPS to patrol around the facility, and we're also making sure that we continue to do that, trying to protect, but we cannot only do this on our own. We need everybody to come on board. We agree with the findings of the committee that we do not have enough ambulances on the road. Our ambulances work 24 hours, 7 days a week. As a result, the mileage goes up quickly and they require a service. We have already had an agreement with the Department of Transport. For your information, we don't own ambulances and we don't buy ambulances. They are owned by the Department of Transport. We lease to the Department of Transport. So when you are to get your facts correctly. So as a department, we have signed the agreement. We are going to have a fast lane that will set aside for the servicing of our vehicles. So we want to make sure that our ambulances, when they go for repairs, they come back on time. So we are engaging with the department to have a fast lane for our emergency vehicles. Chair of Chairs, we acknowledge that our organogram is old, as indicated by the committee. We are addressing this. We have developed a project plan with timelines, and on a weekly basis we meet to monitor progress and make sure that we adhere to the time frames. We are anticipating that the new organogram will be finalized by the end of the current financial year, because we are not going to employ people when we do not have a credible organogram. We need to have a credible organogram in place, then we begin to employ. That is why we are anticipating that in the next financial year there will be a relief in terms of appointment. We also understand that we acknowledge that there are a high number of unclaimed bodies in our forensic mortuaries. Here in Nelson Mandela, we know we have about more than 120, but as a department, together with the national department, we are working on this. A multidisciplinary committee has been established, involve Home Affairs, SAPS, environmental health, and municipality in order to address this. Also, as a department, we have spent about 965,427 upgrading the forensic pathology service in New Brighton. We also bought a Lodox machine for 8.9 million, so that when we do our operations there, we don't have to look for a bullet somewhere, but we have a scan. Just you look for a bullet, you quickly go there, and that saves time. So therefore, we'll be able to do our postmortem on time. Honorable members, will continue to improve the quality service of our people, and we, with the NHI that is signed into law, will redouble our efforts to ensure that we level the playing field so that everyone will have access to the same quality healthcare despite the socio-economic. Let me close by saying, taking the words of Dr. Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. As the government of the ANC, we are going to turn the situation in the Department of Health around. And we are not going to do it at your own pace, but we'll do it at the pace that is required by our people. We are on the right track, because we can say, I can stand here firmly and say, with what we have done with the control measures in terms of trying to maintain our costs, we have reduced the amount that we anticipate that would be an over expenditure from 900 million to 700 million. So it means whatever that we are putting in place for cost containment is working for the department. So we want to say, Chair, we accept the report as the committee, and we promise that the management responses will be sent within a period of 30 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MSc. I put the report, honorable members. Any objection? All the reports for the day have been dealt with and duly adopted with the honorable members. And that concludes the discussions and the business of the day. The House will adjourn up until tomorrow, 24 October 2024 at 10 o'clock in the morning. All members and the members of the public are requested to please stand up and remaining standing until the procession has left the House. The House is adjourned. Thank you very much.